The cat is in heat, let me ride that beat. My f*** on fire, put 5 alarm fire. The cat is in heat, let me ride that beast. My f*** on fire, put 5 alarm fire. Hi, I'm Ira Madison III. You might know me from the Keep It podcast or my writing on pop music, celebrity, pop culture, internet culture, reality TV, and a bunch of other things. Today, I'm going to break down the career of one pop star into 4 different eras. I'm bringing you up to speed on the Disney darling, Nashville Nepo, happy hippie herself, Miley Cyrus. This is The Era with Ira. Okay, so I can't cover every detail of Miley's life in this video, and also, I don't really give a fuck about her family members. So you are going to get some key points about her. All of these will be on the test, so take notes. The Disney Era. Miley Cyrus, or Destiny Hope Cyrus if you're reading her birth certificate, is born in November of 1992 to Billy Ray Cyrus, a country singer. There was a period where we used to like Billy Ray Cyrus, and now it seems like we do not like Billy Ray Cyrus. So I've only listened to the one song. I don't really care about him. You may know her famous siblings as well. There's her younger sister, Noah Cyrus, who's also a singer, and an older brother, Trace Cyrus, who founded the band Metro Station. The only Metro station I care about is the 123, which is right next to my apartment in New York City. Moving on, Miley displays promise as an entertainer from early on, and after a few small roles, she gets a call about a new Disney Channel sitcom and eventually books the lead at age 13. That show, Hannah Montana, becomes a huge hit for Disney, catapulting Miley to fame as many have done before her and many after that. The first episode airs in 2006, a movie is made in 2009, and the show has its series finale in 2011. Let me tell you a little something about Hannah Montana. This is the show, okay? I mean, there's a lot of shows on Disney that I love. I mean, we're talking Wizards of Waverly Place, That's So Raven, but Hannah Montana was really that girl. And the whole conceit about the show, which was that she is a regular teenager, Miley, who is also Hannah Montana, this superstar, and really the only difference is that she's wearing a wig, is a very funny conceit for a TV show. I love it. The show is pretty influential for millennial women and gays. I was really into Miley Cyrus immediately from the music in the show because the music is kind of iconic. You're talking the Best of Both Worlds, which is the theme song to Hannah Montana. That is a banger. That song will turn up any party that you're at that's full of millennials. But it isn't really until we get to the album Hannah Montana 2, Meet Miley Cyrus, in 2007 that we start getting real bangers from Miley Cyrus. Nobody's Perfect, I Gotta Work It, perfect song. Rockstar, perfect song. See You Again is a great song. Girls Night Out, Right Here. Like, these are graduations, weddings, funerals, okay? See You Again is maybe one of the best pop songs that has ever been created. So that used to get off every party that I was at in 2007. This is really when Miley becomes like a pop princess to me. And for the record, in 2007, I am about a year from graduating from college. So that just shows you how good these songs were because we were grown-ass college students listening to Miley Cyrus songs from a kid's show called Hannah Montana. And you also cannot sleep on Hannah Montana, the movie, which has the amazing song Hoedown Throwdown in it, and also the iconic Margot Martindale. Miley at this time dated Nick Jonas, and Nick Jonas also then went on to date Selena Gomez, and so there was beef between the girls over the Jonas Brothers, which sounds a lot like most teenage girls in America fighting over which Jonas brother was the hottest. Demi, for the record, was with Joe Jonas, who's the hottest Jonas, still to this day. So let's just say that Demi Lovato won. Towards the end of the show, she's caught up in her first round of scandals. She makes music out of character for the first time, and she books a few more mediocre films. Most importantly, the last song for Disney, where she meets Liam Hemsworth in 2009. So Miley's in a lot of bad movies in this era. They're so undercover, straight to video. Also starring Jeremy Piven and Mike O'Malley. And then there is LOL with Demi Moore. I mean, shout out to Miley for being in a film with an icon, but LOL is not a movie that anybody is rewatching. It is not ranked high on my Letterboxd. Party in the USA is probably the song that really made people start taking Miley seriously as a pop singer. I think it will probably become the national anthem at some point. I mean, before that song, she had a great album, Breakout, which had Seven Things, Fly on the Wall, one of my personal favorite Miley songs, and The Driveway, which is a great breakup song. But those songs still stayed within the Disney teen world of it all, and so, you know, there weren't many adults listening to Fly on the Wall. So in 2010, Miley Cyrus is doing her Britney Spears I'm a Slave for You thing, where she's like, I want to be stepping into the club, I want to be sexy, and that is when we get the album Can't Be Tamed, which is maybe one of my top 3 Miley Cyrus albums. It has Can't Be Tamed, Who Owns My Heart, and Every Rose Has Its Thorn, Two More Lonely People, Permanent December, Robot, Stay. Like, there's nothing but wall-to-wall bangers on this album, and the video for Can't Be Tamed, where she is trapped in a cage and she has these sort of bird wings that are flapping around when she steps out into a party, is bonkers to look at now. But that song goes off. And then in 2012, in May, she's a year out of Disney. She's 19 years old. Liam proposes to her. And in August, she cuts all of her hair off, marking the soft launch of the Bangerz Era. The Bangerz Era is probably the most defined of Miley's entire career. There's foam fingers, her tongue perpetually out of her mouth. Maybe that is why my tongue is always out in photos, to be honest. That bleach blonde, pink haircut, bodysuits, glitter, weed, pills, red lipstick, teddy bears, and whatever else she pulled out of her purse. The eponymous album drops in September of 2013, predated by the single We Can't Stop. After Party in the USA, We Can't Stop coming out is Miley getting into a bit of, you know, an R&B flavor. The whole Bangerz Era is really Miley doing R&B, hip-hop. She's teaming up with Juicy J. She's twerking. Her ass is on Robin Thicke at the VMAs. There is a lot going on in this era. When you get past the whole messy part of the Bangerz Era, which is when Miley was constantly being accused of oversexing herself, culturally appropriating hip-hop culture, a lot of the era was very cringe at the time. And honestly, it was the era of dragging white people for copying black aesthetics and sort of ditching those aesthetics later once it didn't suit them anymore. But the album is really good, and I think that you can sort of look on it fondly now, and if you're aware of the issues that arose during that time, you can still appreciate the music for what it is. The album itself is really good, and actually her best album. You have Adore You, a beautiful song. You have Bangers featuring Britney Spears, a get, because Britney was not in the studio at that time. You get 4x4 with Nelly. You've got Future on this album. You have Wrecking Ball, which is one of Miley's most iconic singles and videos. I am really kind of in love with Bangerz, the album, and I think it has aged a lot better than its reputation would let you believe. The album does well, though she loses money on the very lavish and expensive tour. I guess she thought she was Michael Jackson. Also, her engagement with Liam is called off that same month. Continue with a version of the Bangerz aesthetic, but veering into experimental psychedelia sonically, she dropped a free album on SoundCloud called Miley Cyrus and Her Dead Pets in 2015. By this time, she's collaborating with Wayne Coyne of the Flaming Lips, who produces the album with Mike Will Made It, and her blonde mohawk morphs into a ponytail of white dreadlocks. The less said about that, the better. The Bangerz album may be in the past, but the era and all that it stands for lingers. So the thing about this album is that I had only listened to it once before I decided to do Miley's Eras. It dropped in 2015 on the night of the VMAs, which is the year that Miley Cyrus hosted, and also the year that she had her infamous beef with Nicki Minaj, when Nicki Minaj came out and said, and now back to that bitch
that had a lot to say about me the other day in the press. Miley, what's good?
But anyway, this album comes out on SoundCloud, and I listened to it, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And let me tell you, I love Mike Will Made It, and I love when Miley teams up with Mike Will Made It, and I also love The Flaming Lips. When I first heard it, I was like, this is noise, okay? I sounded like Nene listening to Kim Zolciak's country music in the car. I was like, this ain't all that good. I'll listen to that on the iPod. Recently, I started listening to the album now that it's finally streaming and not just on SoundCloud. It's a really good fucking album. And I'm actually kind of sad that I missed out on listening to it for the past decade. I think that in this era of music, just people are listening to weirder pop music as a whole. This album would do a lot better if it were released today as it did when it was released in 2015. Miley Cyrus and Her Dead Pets is an album that I completely love. It was not something that I was rocking with in 2015. I'm sorry, Miley. You were right. I was wrong. I really think that sort of Miley Cyrus's character is what saved her amidst the whole messiness of the Bangerz era, because I felt like people weren't really taking her seriously at the time. She just really seems sort of like raucous and out of control and messy during this era, but she managed to emerge from it with a lot of fellow artists like Pharrell, Mark Ronson, Joan Jett, etc., sort of really wanting to work with her. And so I think that whatever mess she was displaying publicly, I think behind the scenes, Miley has always been sort of a consummate professional. And this was sort of the mess you would expect from somebody who was in the Disney machine and really trying to find a way to break free from it. Of course, there are criticisms of this era in the fact that a white artist is able to dabble in hip hop and R&B and sort of be this messy artist and then go back to getting all of the reverence from other musicians, and sort of black musicians don't really get that same respect or grace. And I think that is largely what Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album is about, when she dips into country the same way that white people have been able to dip into hip hop and R&B, and she uses an artist like Miley Cyrus on To Most Wanted. Miley, I think, is very much aware of the privilege that allowed her to participate in the Bangerz era and still sort of return to a respectable pop career. I think that's the one thing that makes the era sort of one that you can look back on fondly now, in that she recognizes the mistakes that she made. I think that she is very open about this period of her career and what she was going through. The Malibu Era. In January 2016, Miley is spotted wearing her old engagement ring, and she confirms to Ellen that the wedding with Liam is back on. This is giving J-Lo at this point. She starts judging on The Voice, campaigning for Hillary Clinton, and starring in a Woody Allen miniseries that nobody watched. She even tells Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show that she doesn't smoke weed anymore. A more wholesome era has clearly begun, marked by her 2017 single, Malibu, a song about settling down with Liam at the beach. Music-wise, her sound in this era becomes chill and mellow, and maybe it's too chill because her 2017 album, Younger Now, doesn't reach the heights of Bangerz, and the second single, the title track, Younger Now, peaks at number 79 on the charts. She publicly announces she won't be releasing a third single and that she won't be touring the album, and to that I say, thank God. Younger Now is my least favorite Miley Cyrus album. As a whole, I do not listen to Younger Now, and it is sort of a blip in Miley Cyrus's discography for me. Meanwhile, her personal life and non-music projects continue to advance. She quits The Voice, starts smoking weed again, and marries Liam in 2018. Damn, I wish I could start smoking weed again and marry Liam Hemsworth. Miley bounces back quickly from the lukewarm reception of Younger Now with the 2018 single Nothing Breaks Like a Heart with Mark Ronson. That is a jam, okay? Miley Cyrus and Mark Ronson did the damn thing on that song, and that is another one of my absolute favorite Miley Cyrus singles. After that, she announces a 3 EP project called She Is Miley Cyrus and delivers the first of the EPs titled She Is Coming in May of 2019. The first of the EPs is ironically titled She Is Coming because she did not release the other two EPs in this trilogy. Maybe that's why She Is Coming sounds a little bit unfocused and unfinished. It's sort of all over the place musically. I love Mother's Daughter. Mother's Daughter is a great song, and it's always in rotation at a party for me. There is an insane song called Catitude with RuPaul. Let me just read you some of these lyrics from RuPaul. The cat is in heat, let me ride that beat. My pussy on fire, pussy 5-alarm fire. The cat is in heat, let me ride that beast. My pussy on fire, pussy 5-alarm fire. And Miley on the chorus goes, turn up your gratitude, turn down your attitude. I love my pussy, that means I got catitude. Let's just say that RuPaul has gone on to much better songs than this one. It's goofy as hell and not even in the fun drag race way. Also, this album comes out almost concurrently with Don't Call Me Angel, which is a single from a very bad Charlie's Angels remake directed by Elizabeth Banks. This is another song that is weird as hell and unfocused because Miley Cyrus, Ariana Grande, and Lana Del Rey sound like they're in three completely different songs. Which is crazy because Max Martin actually produced Don't Call Me Angel, and maybe that's why the beat is really good, but the overall song is just a complete mess. The Rockstar Era. The Rockstar Era begins in tragedy. While filming an episode of the Netflix show Black Mirror in South Africa, Miley learns that her home with Liam has burned down in the Woolsey fires of Los Angeles. Then in June of 2019, while performing songs from She Is Coming and her Black Mirror episode at Glastonbury, she and Liam decide to end their marriage and he files for divorce in August. With her home and her marriage gone, she scraps the She Is Miley Cyrus project altogether. Then in 2020, she's diagnosed with a condition called Reinke's edema that requires surgery on her vocal cords. She gets sober again in preparation for the surgery, but at the same time, there is also randomly a global pandemic. The one good thing to come out of the Black Mirror episode is Miley Cyrus's pop persona of Ashley O, which is one of her more popular songs, which is very ironic when you consider the nature of that episode of Black Mirror. But On a Roll is a top-tier pop song. However, in November, she manages to debut a new album that solidifies her new era, Plastic Hearts. The songs are glam rock inspired with features from Joan Jett, Billy Idol, and Dua Lipa, and she cuts her hair into a shaggy mullet to match the new aesthetic. Hardships aside, Miley proves she's really back when her performance of Blondie's Heart of Glass goes viral. This era, for me, is really another era where I sat up and went, damn, I fucking love Miley Cyrus. The Heart of Glass cover is gorgeous, and the album Plastic Hearts features some of my favorite Miley Cyrus songs. Prisoner is great. Give Me What I Want is another great song. I love the features with Joan Jett and Billy Idol. I was really happy for Miley embracing sort of glam rock on this album because she'd gotten so much recognition for doing rock covers. It was fun to see her actually do a rock album herself. From here on out is all up and up for Miley. In March of 2021, she departs RCA. Thank God, every artist leave RCA, okay? Free my pop stars from RCA Records. In May, she signs an overall deal with NBC, which leads to her December New Year's special, Miley's New Year's Eve Party on NBC, co-hosted by Pete Davidson. Then, in January of 2023, she releases the single Flowers, a powerful self-care anthem flaunting her newfound independence. The song is happy and confident in a way that we haven't heard from her before, and apparently had the most cumulative weeks in the chart's history ever. So Flowers was a massive hit for Miley Cyrus, and I believe just her biggest single ever. I firmly believe that Flowers' dominance of the charts is what made Taylor enroll in the Tortured Poets department. In March, she releases the full album Endless Summer Vacation, and in February of 2024, she earns her very first Grammy for Record of the Year for Flowers and Best Pop Solo Performance. This leads us to today, where her presence on the radio is still inescapable, and she's beginning to come full circle with Hannah Montana. In March, she was named a Disney legend at their DC3 Expo, where she gave an inspiring acceptance speech. Check out our Grammys episode from this year, where Lewis and I talked about Miley Cyrus's iconic performance. It is one that I'm still thinking about to this day. In terms of Endless Summer Vacation, it's still not one of my favorite Miley albums, but I do really love the song Jaded, Used to Be Young. I love Handstand and River and her collabo 1,000 Miles with Brandi Carlile. So there's a good collection of songs on the album, even if it's not overall my favorite Miley Cyrus album. And let me tell you something, this era, people really started to respect Miley's voice. I mean, it's ironic that it came post vocal cord surgery, and then there's this insane video of her running on a treadmill, singing too. I think people really started loving the power of her voice, the raspiness of her voice. She's becoming a bit of the rock legend that she's been emulating so long in her career. I mean, I listen to singers, okay? I very rarely listen to people who cannot sing, and Miley Cyrus is a singer. I don't know, I think the cosigns from people like Billy Idol and Stevie Nicks and Joan Jett are really sort of stepping stone to where she is gonna eventually end up. I think that Miley is in a great spot in her career. That amazing Grammys performance where she was just giving rock legend is gonna definitely be something that propels her into rock stardom. And as it turns out, the Rockstar label fits Miley Cyrus a lot better than the pop star label ever did. This has been The Era with Ira. I'm Ira Madison III, and if you enjoyed this video, you better hit subscribe, because Keep It is a weekly podcast where we cover all things pop culture just like this.